Hi everybody, this is the Smart Alec here with a movie review. I'm going to try setting up a series of movie reviews. I've been seeing a lot of stuff with AMC A-List recently, and there's some things that I just want to share my opinions of to a greater audience and really see what other people think. So starting it off, Last Night in Soho. This is Edgar Wright's most recent movie. It just came out a couple nights ago, at least where I live. Starring Thomasin McKenzie and also Anya Taylor-Joy. And I was really drawn to this one from the initial trailer that I saw, which really, it had like a really interesting song overlaid on it. It brought in a lot of the old like London, 60s London theme into the trailer and kind of interspersed that with like thriller elements. So I was interested to see the movie and see how these different elements played together. Fast forward to seeing the movie. So Thomasin McKenzie, she's the real protagonist in the story, and she actually is from the English countryside, more of a like small town upbringing, lives with her grandmother, loves the 60s, loves all these like elements of 60s London culture, and ends up getting into fashion school in London. So she moves into the dorms there, and immediately she has like a bad roommate and has a lot of like trouble, and ends up looking at a classified and finding a new apartment. And it's this apartment that when she moves in and first goes to sleep, that really sets the story in motion. Basically, when she goes to sleep, she wakes up in the 60s in London in Anya Taylor-Joy's body, and is going around and seeing this stuff through the Anya Taylor-Joy character. It's not her, but she can almost like is personifying it, and in some cases like is in mirrors and stuff looking along as the character is going about her life and going through a lot of like really cool like song and dance numbers all the way through to more like thriller concepts and scenes. And it's really cool, like this whole like body swap thing that's established is actually very interesting. Reminded me a little bit of Midnight in Paris, where you're kind of like going into a different era, and some of the sound design and the set design was really good when she was in the 60s London. So those were some of the really good things. Unfortunately for me, the latter half of the movie, maybe I would say the final third act, if you would call it, it kind of devolves into more common horror tropes and becomes much more horror focused, like running from these, I won't say what, but some sort of enemy, if you will, and having to go to the cops and telling them about stuff, but having them dismiss you because it was just like these kind of like horror tropes that have been done a lot, and just some action scenes that weren't particularly exciting. And it didn't really develop that strong like first half and that like body swapping kind of thing. It wasn't really developed like towards the end, and it didn't really have a payoff. There are also a couple, like I think they were intended to be twists, but they were very obvious twists in my opinion. I would have liked it to be a little bit more like but there were things that I was able to really like tell ahead of time, so that when there was an unveiling, I was like, okay, like I already like pretty much knew that. So just if some of those things were tightened, and if it played off more of what made the first half like really good, I think this would have been a much stronger movie. So I'd have to place this as like a 6.5, maybe 7 out of 10. I did love all the 60s stuff. I love the soundtrack, the nostalgia and all that, but it just lost me with that final act, like I said. And I think the cast did a great job all around the board, including Diana Rigg, who is the landlady that actually has a big part in the story. And this was her last film role. And I think she did a great job as well, but I think it just doesn't jive as much as I would want it to as one cohesive movie. So thanks for watching this review.